Hey YouTube, this is Coach Nate McBride with the Blade Fit Academy, and today I'm going to show you how I put a curve in the shields that I make. Now there's two methods that you can use that I'm aware of. The first method I don't do, but it works really well, so I've heard, and that is, well, I know that it does because it's an industry standard way of bending wood. Basically what you do is you get your wood, whatever you want to bend, you want the final thickness of whatever it is that you're going to bend, and you put it in water. You let it soak the wood fibers for a time, depending on the thickness of the wood and what kind of wood it is. And then what you want to do is you want to bend it over a frame nice and carefully. You don't want to be too aggressive or too quick with the bending. Otherwise, you'll get a splintering, and then it's no good. And you got to start over with a different piece of wood. That's the first method of curving a shield. I don't use that method. I use something that works, I think, just as well. And I like the final product better anyway, and I'll explain why in a bit. So basically what I do is I use birch plywood. So I get 2 1/4-inch pieces of plywood, and in the center, both on this side and this side, I'll get some wood glue. Where's my wood glue? Here it is. I get my wood glue, and then I do this kind of thing on this side and then on this side, and I make sure that it's spread nice and evenly. I grab one of these guys here. Can you see that? And then I just spread it, all around nicely, so it's a nice even coat on both sides, on both sides of the wood, right? So I like to have a little tool like this to help spread the wood. And then in case there's boo-boos or cleanup that I want to do, I have a bowl filled with a rag and some water to help me clean up the excess. All right, so once I have those things and I coat both sides, what I do is I put it together. Now, you don't want to cut your pattern in the wood. You want it square, right? You want the rectangle. The final shield is going to look like this. I got this from a buddy of mine. This is the blank. He did his careful testing, and this is the pattern that he wants. And so what I did is I drew that in this, and I allowed a little, I made it slightly bigger because it's going to be curved, and then that curve is going to reflect this, the distance from here to here, curved. It'll be the same if you caught that. But anyway, I am going to get the bend once I have the wood, once I have the glue on this side, and this is put together. This is going to be pressed this way, right? But I'm going to use these guys here, right? These clamps, and I'm going to squeeze on this side, here, here, and here, right? And it's going to bow the planks. And then when the glue sets, the curve will also set. And basically that's how I do that. And you guys are going to come along for the ride. I'm going to show you what I do on this guy here. So stay tuned. Let's get this done. Let's get this done together. Okay, let's pause this guy. Now the thing to remember when you are gluing this, you want to select the ugly sides, the ugliest sides to put the glue on. You want the prettier side to be on the outs, right? And it doesn't really matter that much for me, just because I put linen on the outside anyway, so I make this a nice composite material. So I have, the plywood glued together. The glue technically is another layer, right? So it's a composite material. But then I go ahead and I glue at least one layer of linen over the on the outside, on the outward facing, and sometimes even on the part that faces your arm, right? Just because it makes it a nice composite material. And I find that when you are sword fighting, that especially steels, that one, the linen protects the wood, the linen and the glue, right? It's this nice hard exterior that will protect the wood. But secondly, what it does is it creates a surface to where the blade will bite into the surface a bit. A lot of times when you are fencing, the steel, say like if you have a plastic buckler or something like that, cold steel makes a popular one. What happens is the steel, boing, it just bounces off, right? But if you have, and that's bad if you have the shield, because even though you got a shield, you got to be careful when you're fighting. You want to bind the other person's blade, and you can't lose track, especially of the point of your opponent. But the blade in particular. So what happens is when you coat the outside of the shield with linen and glue, at least one layer, and two layers might actually be even better because there's more medium that you got to deal with, that the steel is going to kind of bite into that just a little bit and create just that split second of binding and that tactile sense that where on the shield that their point has hit. And that it just makes you a better fighter so that you could counter whatever they're doing. You don't want their sword to just boing bounce off because they could just curve it back around, either over, around, or under your shield before you even have time to react or know where it is. All you feel is that bounce. You don't know exactly where the sword is after that. So what you don't want is a bouncy surface on your shield. So that is... Anyway, that's the long story of why I like to coat this with linen later, all right? So, but with that in mind, that might not make the final cut, but it is a good story, and it is a way to make a superior shield. Okay, so stickers. This sticker is going to be cut off. It doesn't matter. Now, I have a little bit of water in this glue. So we're going to try that. A lot of times in the past, what I've done is I would take my watery rag here, right? And I would want to make sure that it's damp, not too wet. And then I would rub it against the surface of the wood. And that's just so that the wood glue can bind in, penetrate deeper. But I already have a little bit of water in this. So I'm just going to, it's supposed to do the same thing. It just saves me a little bit of time, and so I'm going to work on that right now. So here we go. Now, even though most of the shield, what am I saying? My tongue is too fast for my brain. So even though I have this giant rectangle, and along the edges, it's not going to be... Let me try this again. These are two rectangle planks. Yes, that's true. And the shield on the curves on the outside, that's not going to be part of the final shield. It doesn't matter. You want to glue the entire surface of this thing, just because when you go to bend these, you want to make sure that everything is uniform. You want everything to bend at the same rate. You want a good adhesion all throughout. It's just a better shield, because oftentimes what happens is on the edges, if you don't have enough glue along the edges, then they're separated a little bit. Well, that's bad, because you just don't want that. That's just a bad design. You want it nice and tight. So there's this guy here, and yeah, put this over here. I'm gonna move this blank because he's going to want that, I think, for later. So then what I do is I just make this even. And it doesn't have to be too fancy. I come from a dental laboratory background, and for anyone who knows anything about that, you have to be obsessive to the micron on stuff. And, well, you don't have to be that nitpicky working with this. But I don't know. It's just professionally, that's what I've learned in my main line of work. And so You know, old habits die hard, I guess. And I like to be as clean as possible in my work, maybe even a little too obsessive for other craftspeople. See, like that over there, that's driving me nuts. But I'm on camera, so I'm not stopping to clean that up. I will clean that up in just a bit. But you want to make sure that the glue goes all the way to the edges, all the way to the edges. And when I squeeze these together, yeah, I'm going to get some, if I have enough glue, this is going to squeeze out a bit, and that's just what I want. But you got to make sure you have enough glue as a medium to fill those corners. Okay, so this top one is sitting up here just to be pretty for the camera. I'm going to set it down here just for now. And because I want to get these corners over here. Yeah. Yep. Now, it's important that you do get both sides. You want to coat both sides. You just get better adhesion. There's no bubbles, right? Because you could form little bubble pockets where it didn't get glued, and that would be bad, right? You want to make sure that there is good adhesion in every part, right? In every part. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to carefully move this over. I'm doing while I'm talking. That's great. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to move this guy and put him over here. And I'm going to get the other guy on. But to the camera. All right. Okay. That guy's there. Now let's do this guy. Okay. Okay. I'm a little obsessive. Now you have to work fast because this glue does set up pretty quickly. But again, I did put water in it. So it helps slow down the curing time. But I'm making a good pace, so we're still good. Put that on there for a second. All right, where's my glue? Here it is. Isn't this fun, guys? This is almost like watching paint dry. Anyone know any good jokes? Hope everyone had a good Christmas. Yeah, we did. It was fun. You know, just kick back. The kids are happy. I guess that's the main thing, right? And it was good. Got to chill, just hang with immediate family. That's okay for me. I don't mind that. I'm looking forward to getting back to fencing with my buddies. We took a little hiatus, and you know, pressures of lockdown and all that. But we're all pretty careful. We wear masks and we're socially distant, and we do it in a big room. And you know, we're all responsible people, and we're all pretty young and healthy. So if anyone's ever felt sick, they just bowed out, which is very good. You know, we all try and do our best to thread that needle and live our life safely. And everyone's got their own measure of comfort level, and I respect that. You want to stay safe and feel responsible at your level. All right, so there we go. Now we'll just spread this on here. Doot. La da da. Yabba dabba dooba. Dooba doo. Oh my gosh. You know, I didn't get to talk to people about it because, well, I didn't want to be the guy with spoilers, but holy crap. Who saw The Mandalorian season ender? That was incredible. I know a lot of grown men cried. And you know, it's not the latest thing to talk about, but I don't care. That was amazing. Luke Skywalker showing up. And I am not ashamed to say Luke Skywalker, honestly, is the reason why I got into swords in the first place. As a little kid, just watching Luke Skywalker, just infinitely optimistic, and how he faced down Darth Vader. I mean, as a little boy in the 80s, that was so powerful. That was amazing. It was much more amazing than the Care Bear stare. And yeah, that moment in new Star Wars to pay homage to such a great figure of my childhood. You know, it was amazing. I didn't cry, but I know that a lot of guys did. But you know, I can't cry for fiction. I did get emotional about it. I couldn't cry. I mean, geez, man. I mean, I lived through 9/11. I saw it live on TV. I mean, that's worth crying for. Not something made up like Luke Skywalker, but whatever. Some people cried. I didn't, but man, it was so satisfying. I mean, holy crap. That was so satisfying. You know, it's so funny. When the X-Wing showed up, I'm like, holy crap, that's Luke Skywalker. It's gotta be. It just, and then you know, the robe and the glove on the right hand, I thought, oh my gosh, that's Luke. And as soon as I saw that green lightsaber, I knew it was Luke. And for a fact, I didn't want to believe it because we had been disappointed, like old school Star Wars guys. And there it was. It's like, holy crap! No, no, no. That's really Luke Skywalker. It's not a bait and switch. It's not a subversion of expectations. It's not. It's none of that. Like this is Luke Skywalker, and he just crushed those battle droids. It was so kinetic and just full display of Luke in his prime. It's so satisfying. Yeah, it was. And anyway, like and share and subscribe if you agree. Ah! Yeah. Sorry for that outburst. Okay, so I'm going to put this down here. Now, let's put these guys together. Okay, so I got this dude, and I know that this is... Now, when you put these together, you want to make sure that they are the right halves, that this is the bottom and that's the top. And I know it is because there was a sticker here, and I know that I had done that in the first place. So, yeah, on camera, this is going to be great. Yeah, yep. Do. There's a lot of messy, inglorious handwork to making shields, and sometimes you just got to get through it, and it's just not, it doesn't look cool. It's not amazing. It's not a cute little quick 3-minute YouTube video. It's none of that, right? It's craftsmanship. Sometimes it gets dirty, but that's okay because we're making shields. I'm not trying to be the next Kim Kardashian or whoever the heck's the new bimbo. Okay. So now when I put these together, there is going to be excess. I'm going to wipe that excess. See the method to this madness? It's madness, and there's a method to it. Yeah. Okay. Get that and all along here. So yeah, with your bowl of water, make sure you got a lot of water. You're gonna want a lot of water. You know, I'm not even looking at the screen, the monitor screen. I hope this looks good. Let me look now. Yeah. You see my slimming figure. Great. That's marvelous. But as long as you get the idea with the shield, that's good. I'm probably going to edit down this a lot, at least enough. Okay, so we still have some working time here. Now, what I'm going to do to encourage the bending is I am going to take this this rag, and I do want to wet down the top a little bit. In fact, I want more water. And I'm going to wet down the top because I do want that humidity to soak down into the fibers because, I mean, at the end of the day, we are still bending this wood. And so I want the wood to do that nice and easy. So what we're going to do is when we get the clamping set up, and it's going to get quite elaborate, I warn you now, we just want to make sure that the wood feels not a lot of resistance at all, that it just kind of bends nice and easy, right? And that. Okay, so I got this side here. I'm going to flip this dude. I'm going to repeat on this side, like so. Same drill, right? I'm going to wet this guy down here. Man, it's just like a serious tutorial. If I had any brains at all, I'd put this behind some kind of weird paywall or something. You know, I do have the little preview, you know, but if for those who are really interested in the nitty-gritty, you know, whatever. I'm making a shield. So glad you guys are sticking around to see exactly how I'm doing this. And if you're still with me, you're a craftsman, or at least you want to be. So feel proud. We are the craftsmen. We hold the world up on our backs. All right. Ta-da! Okay. Let's put this back here. Wow. Yeah. Sound effects included. You know, really, that's why Bob Ross was so cool. Yeah, those cool little sound effects and sayings and all that. I ain't no Bob Ross. I mean, you know, my hair does frizz out, but man, that dude, he had that that hairdo. Oh man, that was amazing, and he just rocked it. I mean, he didn't do anything to it. It's just, yeah, I'm gonna rock my hair. This frizzy thing, I'm just this frizzy mop. I'm just gonna mop it up and yuck, yuck, yuck. That's how it worked. Okay, that's why people loved him. And he'd say cool things like, "God bless my friend," which I appreciate. Some people don't, but I do. All right, there we go. Oh, yes. So let's get these guys out. 3 of them. Oh, come on now. Okay. 1. Those out of the way. Don't need a tripping hazard. OSHA does not approve. 2. 3. All right. Let's get these started. Isn't that brilliant how I put them over what I was trying to bend? Yeah, that's brilliant. So this one, I'm going to reverse. Yeah, see how brilliant that is? And now I had to move it twice. Okay. And that there. There's one there. Yeah. Like I said, inglorious. It's just got to happen. And 3. All right. Now, I pre-measured the distance of these. That's why they fit so well. So there is that. I want to make sure that they're more or less even. So now I'm going to squeeze these nice and slow, and then I've got a rubber mallet. I'm going to use a rubber mallet and anyway, you'll see what I do. Stick around and find out. Okay, so close that up. Close this up. All right, so now I'm going to start squeezing. When I squeeze, see how it bows up like that? It's like elven magic, look! Yep. Have no fear. It'll work. All right. Squeeze this guy up here. Come on now. Get. There it goes. See? Glorious. Just glorious. Yeah, you hear that delamination there. We're going to fix that. Okay. On this side here. Oh, come on now. See how that's not cooperating. Oh, it will. Yes. That's being kind of dumb. All right. More on this one. less on this one. Okay, so now it's time for the 2x4s. The 2x4s. All right, 2x4. 2x4 1, 2x4 2. And this is where it gets nice and interesting. All right. Yeah, nice and loud. Last one. Okay. Yeah. Get these things together. Okay, so now for the clamps. The clampy clamps. Yeah, let's get these. The major clamps. Major clamps. Are your soldiers assembled? All right. Major clamp number 1. Guy there. This guy here. Yep. And then on the back side. All right. Yep. Major clamps. All right. Yep. This is definitely. Ugh. See, I'd struggle on back there, but the camera setup is in the way. I'm going to open the garage door off camera and make sure that that looks good, because I want to make sure that this is good. Okay, how are we looking so far? Yeah, all right, so let me turn the camera a bit so we can see. So now you can start to see it's starting to come along, and that is a good thing. But we're going to continue along with the bends. And yeah, so now what I'm going to do, guys, because I don't want this, let me turn this way. Yeah, here we go. So now what I'm going to do, guys, I don't want this video to be too long, and so you see me fidget with this and that and everything else. So the plan. Basically, what we have here, I'm going to show you here. So we have the red clamp, it squeezes and it creates the bend. But then we have the other clamp, which is forcing downward, right? And it is closing the pieces of plywood together. And you need a series of those. So along here, on this side, and then also on this side, we're going to put clamps here to make sure that on the bend, that each piece of plywood is bending to the same rate so that it sticks on the inside. We don't want to create bubbles, right? We don't want to create weakness. We want it to be a nice, solid composite, okay? So that's what we're going to do. I'm going to put basically more clamps on, but that's what we want. We want force this way to clamp it all evenly, and then force this way to bow it. And then I'm going to leave this for at least 24 hours, and it's going to set up. And I'm just going to, when I finish putting all the clamps and stuff on, I'm going to roll the camera again, just so you can see. So stay tuned. Okay, so here we go. Here's the final, oh, what's going on here? Yeah, okay. All right, guys, here we go. So here is the final setup, if you will. There's a ton of clamps on here. So let's go through the madness. So basically, yeah, so I told you about the two forces, right? So you want to clamp this way, and you want to clamp, squeeze this way. So the squeeze makes the bend, and the down force basically glues the two pieces of plywood together. Now, with the clamps, I use clamps, guys, just because I had them, and I'm feeling a bit lazy. But there's actually sort of a hybrid way to do this, which I'll explain in a bit. But let's just go through this. So the bend, let's troubleshoot. So there's 3 of these red clamps, right? 1, 2, 3. And those things, you squeeze them, they squeeze, and then you govern it, the fine amount of squeeze by, basically rotating the handles on the screw, and it does that. But the trick is to get them all 3 uniform. So that's an issue there. And so how I fight that is, oh boy, here we go. I'm going to take this camera off the stand. Bear with me. So here we go. Into the madness. Okay, so you could see, what are we looking at here? So, okay, you could see these guys right here. That is basically the spine of these red clamps. So there's 3 of them. 1, 2, you see the second one? Yeah, there it is. And then the third one is there. Okay, so let's focus on the second one because I think I could get the best view. Hopefully it won't make you guys seasick. All right, so up here is the plywood, but right here is another, what is that? It could be a 2x4. I used a 2x6 because what I had handy. And then I have a little shim, another 1/4 inch piece of birch, actually. And on top of that, I'm not sure you can see it. See if we can. Yes, there it is. Up here, this white thing. That is a piece of PEX pipe, not PVC, PEX. Because PEX can squeeze a bit. That's the hard PEX pipe, not the soft PEX pipe. And so this piece right here is the middle of the shield, right? The axis of the shield. So let's move this slowly over here so you see what I'm talking about. It's right here on the shield. Let's see if I can get more cord here. Okay, so we're looking at the shield right here. Okay, here's the top of the shield, the apex of the bend. And so I have this piece of PEX pipe sticking up right here, and then on the other side, I've got another piece of PEX pipe. Yeah, the cord, I can't get any closer, but there it is down there. So that PEX is squeezed up on the spine. So as this bends, and as we put more pressure on there, it holds this. It's applying pressure to the spine to get that. It does 2 things. Okay, so let me put this here. That does 2 things. The first thing that it does is it governs the bend. I know that because of the PEX in there, because of the shim in there, it's a uniform bend, and I can make adjustments in the tautness, I guess, of the bend from these red guys. Okay, from there, I know it's uniform. This isn't more than that, and so forth. Secondly, it's applying more pressure, right? The back end, the back plywood is being pushed up to the front plywood. So that just creates another bendy hotspot. I don't know. My words for some reason are failing me, but that's what that does. And then so it helps keep the pressure on. Now let's talk about the hybrid way. I've done this, believe it or not, all this crazy stuff because I have been lazy. But remember how I talked about the first way where you bend the wet plywood over a frame? Well, there's a hybrid way of doing that. Basically, you get the 2 pieces wet-ish, just how I did with this, and then you laminate. You put the wood glue in between the 2, and then you basically put it over a frame with some straps. Okay, I think honestly that's the best way to do it, but I just haven't. I've been too lazy to actually make the frame, and it doesn't even have to be super amazing. All you need is basically, see how I have these 3 squeezers, the red clamps. You just need bare bones 3 of those molds, right? All you need is like a 2x6 where you've just cut a curve, right? And the curve is the same on all three, and then 3 straps, 1, 2, 3. And then you just make sure that the straps matches the bottom, and then you just ratchet it, and so it bends all 3. But like I said, I'm feeling I just, I set this and then I go about my day, and then I let this set for 24 hours and then I come back to it. And I just haven't made that tooling. But you would not need all of this apparatus if you did that work of making the 3 cuts. I don't have a table saw, so I just never made those. You don't need a table saw. It's just that's the excuse in my head. But I think for 2020, I am going to make a frame like that just to make this a bit easier. This is kind of like the R&D version. So, I mean, and I've made, how many shields have I made? 1, 2, 3, 4 that needed a bend. 5, 6, 7. I've made 7 shields using this. I know it works pretty well. And, once you get something working pretty well, sometimes you're reluctant to try a new method, but it's actually not a new method. Lots of people do that. It works really well. But this is what I've been doing, and it works for me, so I couldn't show you something that I didn't do that I feel confident about. This I have done lots, and I do feel confident about that. And I've made all kinds of other shields too, and the wood glue with even the flat pieces case. I mean, I've made just a ton of bucklers and targes and Viking shields and whatnot, and that works really well. The wood glue, laminated, one on top of the next. You don't have to bend them like this, and then you skin them with the linen. That just works really, really nice. Strong light shields. You throw the boss on there, and it's just incredible. Anyway, guys, I'm just talking to talk now. Thank you so much for checking out my channel and viewing this video. I hope that it got something I hope you got something worthwhile out of it, and that this gives you the confidence to go out and experiment yourself. One step at a time, guys. I don't know how to do this. No one taught me how to do it. I just kind of looked around and trial and error. Hopefully, by showing you this method, you can at least extrapolate, oh, okay, you do this and that, and hey, maybe you'll have a greater idea how to do it. But just based on this, I think the fastest, easiest way is to use the wood glue in between 2 sheets and then have a preset frame. Basically, I'm just making a frame by pieces that I could tear down and reuse for multiple projects around the house, right? For just different things. That's kind of how I roll, and I guess that's another reason why I haven't just made a frame for this. But you don't even need a big old frame. That's the best, but you don't have to do that. All you need is 3 or maybe even 4. It depends on how big your shield is going to be. Maybe you just need 2, but anyway, you need more than 1. Little spots where you've got that bend and then some straps, right? Straps are cheap. They're like $15 for 4 straps. And then lumber is really cheap. All you got to do is just cut out the rate. I guess it's not really a radius, but the curvature on the top of them. You just got to do that, and really that's not that hard. So once you do that, you've got your cool bend forms, and then you just get your straps, wood glue this, and then you throw it on there. Another reason why I haven't done it is the wood glue. You get excess that comes out, and you need some kind of separation between your wood frame that you're bending it over and the wood itself. The last thing you want to do is accidentally wood glue your shield to your frame. So, but that's easily fixed. I mean, you can put some, I don't know, some kind of barrier like silicone spray or something on your frame just to give it that added layer of protection, just to make sure that they separate. That's that. So yeah, gosh, I've already signed off once. So this is the real sign off. Let me move this over a little bit, and I'll get down into into my little spot here and look at the camera. So, guys, happy New Year from me to you. I hope 2021 is a great year for you. 2020 has been a disaster for a lot of people, myself included. So and some of you had a great 2020, and I don't begrudge that at all. I know some people have had a great year and they can't even share their joy because the world's on fire. Guys, I don't envy you at all. And I hope that you could enjoy the 2020 with people who were in your position who could understand. And even for you guys who had a great 2020, I'm wishing you a great 2021. So happy New Year to everybody. Let's make next year a good one. Get that vaccine. Don't make it political. It's stupid stuff. You know, the more people that get it, you know, we could all live our lives, whether it works or not. I want everyone to get that vaccine, so there's no excuse. Hey, let's get back to life. So that's the way I look at it. We're just moving forward. Move forward. Always remember, guys, to slay your demons, and I will catch you on the next video. Take care.